Sound familiar? In Texas, 4 8th graders charged today. In depth tonight, the dark side of the internet, how young troublemakers can go online and hatch deadly plots. And Lifeline, what you need to know about the first new diet drug since fen-phen.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. In Littleton, Colorado tonight, so many worlds. The world of grieving, as the young victims are buried one by one, a sad ritual that will go on all week. The world of reconstructing lives, and the world of questions, beginning with this one. Was anyone else involved? Tonight, an 18-year-old girlfriend of Dylan Klebold, one of the shooters, is being questioned for her possible connection to the guns. Here's NBC Jim Avila in Littleton. Jim, what's the latest?
Tom, tonight investigators tell NBC News they are making progress in their efforts to find out how 2 teenage boys came up and were able to amass enough weapons to kill 12 of their classmates and 1 teacher. In fact, diary entries dating back over a year say the boys had more in mind, that they planned to kill 500 people, shoot up the neighborhood, escape by helicopter and jet airplane. But the big step today, say police, is some answers in the questioning of the suspect's girlfriend about 2 deadly weapons purchased in the Denver area. 3 days before the massacre, Robin Anderson was Dylan Klebold's prom date. Now this 18-year-old senior at Columbine High finds herself in the center of the investigation, questioned today, but not charged by police, about 2 of the 4 guns found at the scene of the shooting.
My belief is that she was questioned on the handgun and the rifle, not the shotguns.
Local and federal law enforcement sources tell NBC News they are questioning Anderson in connection with the purchase of those 2 guns at a gun show in Denver several months ago. Guns which ended up in the hands of her friend, Dylan Klebold. Today's interview by police is to determine if she knew why the teen suspects wanted the weapons.
The important part of interviewing an individual is to determine what their knowledge was, what their state of mind was, what their intent was.
Also today, more information on the deaths of Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. The coroner has completed autopsies and confirms that both died of self-inflicted shotgun wounds to the head. Neither had any drugs in their system. And more information on the victims. All died of gunshot wounds. None of the bomb shrapnel wounds is listed as fatal. And none of the students or the teacher had any drugs in their systems either. And tonight, the police are saying publicly that the 18-year-old woman questioned today is being viewed as a witness, not a suspect. And sources tell NBC News she will be questioned again. Finally tonight, police announced today that their lab will be processing the crime scene behind me for another 2 weeks. Fingerprints and video evidence from the security cameras have been sent to the FBI for analysis. Tom?
Thanks very much, Jim Avila, tonight in Littleton, Colorado. On the day of the massacre, shots were fired at the 2 young men by a Jefferson County Deputy Sheriff, Neil Gardner. He was patrolling the parking lot at the time. Gardner, who is also a coach at Columbine, described his chilling experience for the first time with Dateline's Sarah James.
Then I opened the door of the patrol car, and then as soon as I stood up, I saw a suspect enter the southwest doors of the school. As he exited the doors, he started to shoot with an assault rifle.
Do you know who he was? Did you recognize him?
I recognize him since in between times we were hearing that the suspects could be Eric Harris or Dylan Klebold.
Where was that information coming from?
From kids running out of the school and on the school radio, because there was people inside of the school.
Were those names you knew?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as part of they called themselves the Trenchcoat Mafia.
He was armed with an assault rifle. How were you armed?
I have a .45 semi-automatic pistol.
You were pretty outgunned.
Mm-hmm.
Did he see you, Neil? Was he shooting directly at you, or was he shooting in general?
Yes, he was, because we could hear the bullets fly over, and we could feel them go underneath the blazer.
How close did they get?
A couple hit the front windshield. One hit the passenger rearview mirror, and the glass was falling down onto my shoulders.
In your 16 years on this force, have you ever experienced anything like this?
Never. This was the worst nightmare of my life.
And inside that school, Neil, that diary suggests that they wanted to kill 500 people.
I think with exchanging fire, it did allow some people that were fleeing the scene to get out of the building. I always will have to live with the fact that maybe if I could have dropped him, maybe it would have saved 1 or 2 more lives. That I will never know.
Sarah James also spoke with the first backup officers to arrive on the scene. They told her what they knew about the 2 gunmen before that fateful day, and there will be more on all of that tonight on Dateline on NBC at 10, 9 Central. There's been so much fallout from Littleton in schools all over the country. One place where it is being felt acutely tonight is the small central Texas town of Wimberley, not too far from the capital of Austin. It was disclosed over the weekend that 4 junior high school students are suspected of plotting their own version of a school massacre. NBC's Jim Cummins has that story for us tonight.
Sheriff's deputies towered over the 4 eighth-grade boys as they were led into court to face charges of conspiracy to commit murder, arson, and manufacture of explosives after investigators claimed they found gunpowder, bombs, and computer disks with bomb-making instructions in their homes. Sheriff John Montague says they were serious about injuring or shooting at least 9 people, including fellow students and, quote, a teacher or 2. They were taken into custody Friday when other students tipped off the police about the bomb plot. The people in the small town of Wimberley, Texas, population 3,000, say it's unbelievable that unlike Littleton, Colorado, these 4 kids are not considered loners, outcasts from other students. Newspaper editor Louis Bond.
They're pretty much normal kids, average kids. The other kids in the school were surprised by some of the names.
8th grader Chris Crasilia says the suspects are his friends.
They're like some more of the popular students, you know. I mean, they have lots of friends and everything, and they just seem pretty cool.
School Superintendent David Simmons says they are athletes, just friends, not part of any organized gang. But nobody here is taking any chances. Police searched all the lockers at the junior high school overnight to make sure there were no bombs before classes resumed today. And when there was a town meeting to discuss the bomb threat, about 1,000 people showed up. Editor Bond says most people here, including her son who attends the junior high, do not want the suspects released.
He, like many of the kids, was afraid that maybe he was one of the targets.
NBC News has learned that 3 of the 4 suspects have computers at home, and police have taken those computers and are examining their hard drives for more evidence. Late today, a judge ruled they will stay in jail, still charged with plotting murder, arson, and bomb making. There will be another hearing in 10 days. Jim Cummins, NBC News, Dallas.
And when we come back tonight, new information about how the tragedy in Colorado may have been telegraphed on the internet. Why aren't more parents policing what their kids do online?
Who will think nothing of going into their kids' rooms and kind of looking around for evidence of a Playboy magazine or of a book they don't think the kids should be reading, will ask nothing about what their children are doing online.
Going online for easy access to violence and hate, what parents need to know, in depth tonight. And Lifeline. Is this pill a dieter's dream? The newest fat fighter approved today by the government. But how safe, how effective?
A rainy day story from all. Every cloud can bring rain, but that's no reason to be blue. 'Cause rain leaves a scent that makes things fresh and new. Introducing new Fresh Rain All. It has the stain-lifting power of regular all, so it leaves your clothes clean with a Fresh Rain scent. For rain fresh scent, there's Fresh Rain, A-L-L. Da-da-da-da.
At LensCrafters, great-looking prescription sunglasses don't have to cost a fortune. LensCrafters can make hundreds of the latest styles with your prescription for only $99, and we'll have them ready in about an hour. Prescription sunglasses, only $99. Hurry, offer ends soon.
This will be
You're the perfect pair.
lasting love. This
Smile.
will be what I've waited
Laugh.
for. This will be
Eat.
first time anyone has loved me.
Get together for delicious lobster and shrimp. Side by side for a short time and priced at just $12.99. The perfect combination for a pair like you. Escape to Red Lobster.
With Days Inn hotels in over 1,800 cities and towns, there's bound to be one where you're headed. You can pretty much bet on it. Days Inn. There you go.
This is really something. You see this pain reliever? Nothing is proven to work better or last longer. Nothing. You see this one? For 14 years, people have counted on this for relief that's gentle on the stomach. And you may be surprised to learn that both are Advil. It's true. Nothing's proven to work better or longer than Advil. And millions of people can tell you it's gentle to the stomach. Strong, yet gentle. Advil.
You know there's nothing that I'd rather do than to be with you, talking with the stars. It's the way you make me smile and tell me who you are. Yeah, it's Regis and Kathy Lee.
Weekdays at 9 on News Channel 8.
NBC News in Depth tonight, easy access. How the internet teaches kids about hate and violence. At least one of the two suspects in the shootings at Columbine High maintained a very graphic website on the internet. Across this country, almost 45 million households with PCs are connected to the internet, and almost 22.5 million minors surf the net. What role did the internet play in the tragedy in Colorado? Well, tonight, officers are looking at the school's website. They're also investigating the computers at the school. We have new information on all of that now from NBC's George Lewis in Depth.
The slaughter at Columbine High School seemed to come from nowhere, but there were warnings from Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. On the internet, Harris posted detailed descriptions of the pipe bombs he and Klebold were making. In a March 1998 website posting, he even gave each of the bombs a name. Atlanta, Folis, Peltro, and Pazzi are complete. Now, our only problem is to find the place that will be ground zero. A friend of Eric Harris saw the bomb descriptions, told his parents and police.
My parents talked to the bomb squad. We went down and talked to them, and nothing. They just didn't do anything.
Police did do one thing. They wrote a report.
It wasn't a criminal report. It was entitled a suspicious incident.
And police admit it was filed away and forgotten.
Now it turns out that officials at Columbine High also ignored warnings about what troubled teenagers were doing on the internet. Warnings that students were misusing the school's own website.
Jonathan Ladd is the student assistant to the technology administrator at Columbine High. He tells NBC News that before he was appointed, members of the Trenchcoat Mafia, not including Harris and Klebold, were running the school's website, and that they filled it with disturbing art and weird song lyrics. And neither parents nor teachers noticed it.
So none of the adults worried about the content of what was on the school's website?
None of them.
As Jonathan said this, his parents were shocked.
Kind of disturbing that they weren't monitoring this a little bit better.
The school district and teachers, overwhelmed with today's funerals of 3 students and an instructor, were unavailable for comment. The Simon Wiesenthal Center lists more than 1,400 so-called problem websites. While racist messages and bomb-making instructions can be found in libraries, it's easier and quicker to find them on the internet.
Parents who will think nothing of going into their kids' rooms and kind of looking around for evidence of a Playboy magazine or of a book they don't think the kids should be reading will ask nothing about what their children are doing online.
Jonathan's parents say they closely monitor his online activities. Now they and others wish that the parents of the 2 killers had done the same. George Lewis, NBC News, Littleton, Colorado.
Up next, I'll have the other big story of the day, the Kosovo War. A U.S. Apache helicopter has crashed and burned in an accident in Albania. There's word of the POWs as well.
When your allergies are a nightmare, you need help. Not just any help. You need the power of Zyrtec. Prescription Zyrtec goes to work and keeps on working for 24 hours. And Zyrtec's the only leading prescription antihistamine approved for both indoor and outdoor allergies, from cats and dogs to dust and pollen. In studies, drowsiness was the most common side effect. Others included fatigue and dry mouth. Most side effects were mild or moderate. Most people weren't bothered by them enough to stop taking Zyrtec. To learn more, ask your doctor or pharmacist or see our ad in Life magazine. So when allergies are a nightmare, and when are they not? Remember the power of Zyrtec.
Does tossing one of these into your tank kill germs? Well, here's one way to be sure. Lysol Continuous Action Automatic Toilet Cleaner. It not only cleans, it kills germs. No other automatic toilet cleaner kills more. You have our word on it.
Mom, did that file open yet? No.
Buy a Gateway PC with the YourWare program, and you can trade it in toward the purchase of a new one in 2 years. So you'll never have an old, slow computer. Call or come in. Get a Gateway Essential PC with an Intel Celeron processor for $28 a month.
Why do I rent from Enterprise? Very simple. No stress. They arranged to pick me up free, so I don't have to ask anyone for a ride. See? No stress. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Man, that chili was hot.
You got heartburn too?
Yeah. Want to try these new Pepsi AC chewables?
It says you gotta take it with water. What's the water for? With Tums, you don't need water.
Just because new Pepsi is chewable doesn't mean it works like Tums. Tums calcium neutralizes acid fast. Pepsi Chewable's famotidine has to go through your bloodstream, so it takes 40 minutes just to start controlling acid.
Do you want to go back for water?
Forget the water. Pass the Tums.
This week, exploring the roots of the Today Show family tree. From Romania to the Caribbean, Japan to the Deep South. From a past where our ancestors may also be yours.
Now to the crisis in Kosovo, where tonight, as NATO announced that the full force of Apache helicopters is in Albania and ready for action, the Pentagon also announced that an Apache has crashed and burned during a training exercise. The $14.5 million chopper went down about 2 miles short of the airport in Tirana, Albania. Both crew members, we're told, did escape. Also tonight, the first opportunity for outsiders to see those 3 captive American soldiers. And could there be a crack in Serbia's united front? We get the latest now from NBC's Ron Allen in Belgrade.
It was the first time since they were captured a month ago that any outsider has seen the American prisoners of war. The president of the International Red Cross was not allowed to see them alone.
I had the occasion this morning to see them and to shake their hands and have a short talk with all 3.
He also gave them letters from their families. The Red Cross says President Milosevic promised more lengthy visits with a doctor tomorrow. But for now, no details about the prisoner's condition. The Red Cross president said he did not expect the U.S. servicemen to be released before the conflict ended.
There was little information about the 3 Americans because the Red Cross doesn't want to appear to be concerned only with the POWs. It's trying to remain impartial and neutral so that Red Cross workers can stay in this country and do their job.
The war is starting to wear the country down. This morning, an outpouring of grief at the funerals of television employees killed by NATO missiles last week. And today, 2 more bodies pulled from the rubble of the building. Tonight, new signs support for Milosevic may be cracking. Luke Droskevich, a leading politician, says it's time to, quote, stop lying to the people in Serbia. NATO is not backing down, and world public opinion is against us. He says his country should accept a UN proposal calling for armed peacekeepers.
I am telling you, the federal government of Yugoslavia is ready to accept the resolution of the Security Council of the United Nations.
Milosevic's opponents are now calling for his removal from office. It's not NATO's job to remove him, he says. We will do it ourselves. However, despite the mounting political pressure, there are still no signs of Milosevic giving in. And tonight his country braces for another round of NATO attacks. Ron Allen, NBC News, Belgrade.
Now back to news in this country. Lifeline, the first new prescription diet drug to win government approval in a year and a half. Scientists say it can work, but look out for the side effects. More on this tonight from NBC's Robert Hager.
It's a whole new approach called Xenocal. Acts simply by blocking about a third of fat consumed. So for a big hamburger, instead of 30 grams of fat, you digest only 20, saving 90 calories. From a slice of pepperoni pizza, instead of 12 grams of fat, 8 digested, saving 35 calories. Sounds great, but doctors warn it can sometimes cause unpleasant side effects, cramping and diarrhea. Worse, the more fat you eat. And it's meant only for the obese, not casual dieters. Still, many expect it'll really be used more broadly.
The market for a drug that hits it big is potentially tremendous. 40 million Americans considered obese, another 50 million overweight, and the number growing. But there's been trouble with diet drugs recently.
First, there was fenfluramine, withdrawn after reports of deaths from heart problems. Then Meridia, approved, but amid concerns about raising blood pressure. Both those drugs act by altering brain chemistry, so you think you're full. Xenocol acts in a way some consider less dangerous. Stays inside the digestive tract, does not go to the brain, never even enters the bloodstream, simply blocks absorption of fat from the stomach or lower digestive tract. Cindy Smith, among patients who tested the drug in the U.S.
My weight was at all-time high at 220, and then now I had lost 70 pounds after the 2 years.
Others lost less, 10% as a rule, but still significant.
The average person lost about 20 pounds. Some patients did much better than that. And then during the second year of the trial, the patients maintained their weight much better.
Xenocol is expected to reach prescription counters in the next 2 weeks. Not a silver bullet, doctors say, but a useful weapon in the battle against weight problems. A battle this nation has been losing. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
On Wall Street today, the Dow was up almost 29 points. Technology stocks lifted the NASDAQ more than 61 points to a new record. Up next here, a school not far from Columbine High. This school is a special program to spot trouble early and prevent tragedy. Is this a program for every school in America?
1 potato, 2 potatoes, 3 potatoes, 4, 5 potatoes, 6 potatoes, 7 potato balls.
Chevy Venture now has available seating for 8. Perfect for when you're expecting the unexpected.
5 potatoes, 6 potatoes, 7 potato balls.
Now choose 0% financing or $1,000 cash back on a Chevy Venture. See your dealer today. Chevy Venture. Let's go.
Why do I have Aflac insurance on top of my regular health insurance? Because she throws like a boy and dances like an angel. Because we've shared the same heartbeat. And because Aflac helps cover what other insurance doesn't. If I'm sick, Aflac even provides cash to help pay bills. So why do I have Aflac? Because I have her. Aflac supplemental insurance. Without it, no insurance is complete.
At LensCrafters, great-looking prescription sunglasses don't have to cost a fortune. LensCrafters can make hundreds of the latest styles with your prescription for only $99, and we'll have them ready in about an hour. Prescription sunglasses, only $99. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Gosh, I just went to use the phone. You say once you got back, your wife was gone.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
What?
Have you checked the hot enchilada?
Oh, no. Millicent gets terrible heartburn.
Not this time.
What's that?
Looks like the remains of one of those new Pepsid AC chewables.
Now the first chewable that stops heartburn before it starts. Great-tasting Pepsid AC chewables.
Millicent? Is that you?
Start living heartburn-free with new Pepsid AC chewables.
With Days Inn hotels in over 1,800 cities and towns, you never think about where to stay. You just go with the flow. Days Inn. There you go.
Which plant food do America's top professional growers use? Let's go right to the source.
Bonnie Plant Farm grows over 100 million plants. Got to have the right stuff. Every time we water, we feed these plants with Miracle-Gro. The quality, the vitality, the character of the plant is much better. Look at the roots on this rascal. It's wrapped all the way around the plant. And it's done this because it has been fed with Miracle-Gro for 6 weeks. We use the very best seed and the very best plant food, Miracle-Gro.
The time to comfort a community. The fight to save a people. For the most complete coverage of the tragedy in Colorado and the crisis in Kosovo, turn to MSNBC.
What happened at Columbine High? What trouble signs were missed? What pushed those kids over the edge? All that is prompting other high schools across the country to review their own procedures, to wonder if there isn't a better way to head off trouble. Tonight, NBC's Roger O'Neill at a high school not too far from Columbine, where they have a system in place.
As they said goodbye to 3 more students and a teacher today.
Take my hand and walk where I lead.
These teachers were trying to improve a system in their school of trying to know what all of their students are thinking and doing.
What more could advisories be?
To recognize warning signs before it's too late. At Colorado Academy, a private school just a mile from Columbine High, it's called an advisory system. Each teacher responsible for 10 or 12 students to spend a little time with them every day, to learn to know their habits, their moods, their changes, to be their advisor through all 4 years of high school.
If a child wants their voice to be heard, it's out there and it's a safe place.
We joke sometimes about having snack and advisories, but if you think about the metaphor there, sitting down, breaking bread with somebody every day for 4 years, that's pretty powerful.
Angel Vigil, a father, says his kids' advisors are critical partners in his parenting job.
How are they doing in the classroom, or is there something going on in their life as a teenage person
you as a parent would
that
never...
I might not have a clue about, and I depend on other adults in my child's life to be on the same team with me.
Sometimes the students get so comfortable with their advisor, the classroom becomes a place to hang out. Here, students brought in yard sale furniture, whatever it takes to get the students to talk to their adult advisors. But Colorado Academy is small, only 250 in the high school. How could it work in a big public school? Psychologist Daniel Hedelman says it's the commitment of time and people, not the size of the school, that makes the advisory system work.
You need to have adults who can get to know over time a small number of students.
But not necessarily just teachers.
Right.
Just counselors.
Right. No, I think it can be anybody.
No one is naive here. The unspeakable could happen. But at a time when everyone is asking, how could no one know, not the parents, not the teachers, what the 2 teens who shot up Columbine High were up to, this school hopes the simple act of talking every day, student and adult, is an answer. Roger O'Neill, NBC News, Littleton.
And as we mentioned earlier, the only teacher killed in the Columbine High rampage was buried today. 47-year-old Dave Sanders, who taught business and coached track, basketball, and softball. More than 2,500 people packed at Trinity Church for his funeral services. Students, past and present, friends and family paid tribute to him for his kindness and his patience. They called him a hero for helping protect kids during the chaos, even as he was bleeding to death. His daughter Angela and grandson Austin, a preschooler, talked about what he meant to them.
I wanted to say that he always made good bedtime snacks for me, and he always took me to the gym so I could play basketball. I love him.
You will always be in our hearts and thoughts, and your presence will always be felt. We love you, David Sanders. P.S. The girls and I would like you to know that we love you too, and because of you, there are a lot more kids that will make it. Goodbye, Dad. Love you.
That's Nightly News for this Monday night. Don't forget Dateline tonight at 10, 9 Central. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you back here tomorrow night.
Nightly News is a presentation of NBC News. More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world.
Matt Zafino, only on Northwest News Channel 8. News Channel 8 takes you on a journey of faith.
I got you, sister.